foot and musculoskeletal health during lockdown. I am a consultant orthopedic surgeon and work in Liverpool, United Kingdom. Disclaimer: I have received financial grants from Atrix Incorporation worldwide towards research, traveling and speaking. Much of the world's attention has been focused on the direct effects of coronavirus and the consequential acute respiratory distress syndrome. Whilst the global death rate is still increasing, lockdown and social distancing measures are showing to be able to help contain the spread of the virus. Whilst lockdown and social distancing are helping in controlling the spread of the virus, it is important that we do not forget the indirect negative health impacts from the lockdown. The negative impacts are both psychological and physical. Medical data is available detailing the negative psychological effects of lockdown, including mounting concern of the risk of suicide due to anxiety about health and illness. Fewer information, however, is available regarding the negative physical effects of lockdown. Lockdown, whilst being enforced on all members of the population, has slightly stricter measures for senior citizens in most countries due to the increased risk of mortality from COVID-19 in this population. The physical negative impacts of the lockdown on this group of people may last for many years. The elderly population staying at home increases sedentary behavior, which will aggravate sarcopenia, frailty, functional decline and all-cause mortality. Physical inactivity and aging decrease muscle mass. From the age of 40, there is slow decline in the amount of muscle. From the age of 40, 8% of body's muscle is lost per decade. This increases to 15% per decade from the age of 70. By the age of 80, there remains only 50% of the maximum muscle mass that was present during the 30s. Physical activity is important, and in an attempt to track their physical activity, many people have been using the pedometer to check how many of the 10,000 steps per day they were managing to achieve. A study done in Brazil showed that participants who accumulated 10,000 steps per day had significantly lower anxiety, depression, anger, fatigue, confusion, total mood distress scores, lower body weight, waist circumference, body mass index, and blood pressure. In the midst of lockdown measures, where physical activity cannot be maintained by completing 10,000 steps, there is likely to be a significant loss of muscle mass. Loss of muscle mass is also known as sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is derived from the Greek words sark, which means flesh, and paenia, which means loss. The image on the left shows the cross-section of the thigh in a young healthy adult. There is significant component of muscle around the thigh bone. In the image on the right, the thigh has decreased in size. In sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass is greater than the loss of other structures, resulting in muscle being replaced by fat. Exercising into senior years is very important to maintain muscle mass and function. Sarcopenia associated with aging causes decreased mobility, decreased standing balance, increased hospitalization, increased nursing home admissions, increased falls, increased fractures, and even increased death. Even very short periods of inactivity can cause decline in functional activities like walking and balancing. The World Health Organization recommends 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week for the over 60s. Due to lockdown, this may not be possible. Even if 150 minutes of activity is not possible, the good news is that even short periods of exercise can decrease the ill effects of forced physical inactivity. Exercise for even a duration of 20 minutes per day can reduce functional decline and have positive benefits. A report by the National Institute of Clinical Excellence in the United Kingdom in July 2018 reported that 1/3 of over 65s have a fall once a year. 500,000 people attend hospital in a year with falls and fractures. This cost the National Health Service about £4.4 billion annually. However, falls and weak muscles are not an inevitable part of aging as once may have been the belief. Both the increased incidence of falls and weak muscles can be reversed with exercise. Let me now introduce you to a simple exercise program that was developed in Otago, New Zealand. The Otago exercise program was developed by Robertson and Campbell for the New Zealand Accident Compensation Corporation. The aim of the program was to improve balance and strength in patients to prevent falls. In one of their original research studies, they involved 223 participants. The participants were from 17 dental practices around New Zealand. Half the participants performed the Otago exercises and the others did not. At the end of 1 year, there were 152 falls in the control group compared to only 88 falls in the study group. This showed that the Otago exercise program decreased the incidence of falls. The subsequent serendipitous discovery was that in addition to decreasing falls in the elderly, the Otago exercise program also decreased musculoskeletal pain in the elderly as shown by another study. This study was performed in Sweden where 119 participants were involved. Pain was shown to have decreased at both 3 months and 12 months following participation. That improvement was maintained at 24 months. This study showed that by practicing these simple exercises, which can be done within the confines of one's home, one can improve one's physical health, decrease the chance of falls, improve mental health, and slow down decline in cognition. The lack of ability to exercise may also arise from pain in the feet. The Framingham Foot Study identified that 19 to 25% of seniors have foot pain. Pain in the feet prevents normal weight bearing and exercising. Part of the same study identified that pain in the feet was associated with flat and pronated feet. In this condition, the arches drop to the floor and the foot turns inwards. One of the contributory factors is that the muscle holding up the arch of the foot becomes weak, causing posterior tibial dysfunction and foot pain. Supportive devices like orthotics or insoles improve posture, improve balance, and decrease foot pain. Over-the-counter insoles that are firm and provide support under the arches, like the orthotics that are available at atrix.com, are as good as and much more economical than custom-made orthotics. In addition to orthotics, which need to be inserted inside shoes, flips or casual footwear also have inbuilt arches. I thank you for listening to and I hope you can exercise during the lockdown.